So hey everybody, we're already having fun. So welcome to this episode of Nagios in the Node. So today we are talking about 8 things you should be monitoring. We're here to tell you what to do, what you're missing, what you ought to be doing. This is like Ryan is like your mom trying to tell you what you should be doing because you're doing it wrong. All right?
All right.
Yeah.
So another way to look at this is, hey, you came to Nagios with your mission critical devices needing to be monitored. You got that done. What else can we do? How else can Nagios make your life easier? Maybe some stuff that's overlooked, stuff that might not have been the most critical at the point of looking into the market space, giving you ideas of, again, how to expand your footprint and really make your life easier as the IT admin.
Right. And tell us again who you are, Ryan.
My name is Ryan. I'm the sales manager here at Nagios.
Of course, I need no introduction. And this is Dylan.
Yes, I'm Dylan, support engineer.
So Dylan, what do you think? You talk with customers, you work with customers every single day. What stands out to you as something people are like, oh, geez, I didn't know I could have done that. I didn't realize how important this thing was.
So I'm hugely biased on this.
We brought you here for your opinion.
But so when you set up XI initially, it comes with a number of localhost checks that are already enabled. Well, they're already set up, but they're not enabled.
Okay.
Right? And a lot of people never enable them. They just set up monitoring for everything else in their environment, and they don't think they need to use Nagios to monitor itself.
Ooh.
And that's an oversight.
So what do you like on the Nagios machine, which is officially localhost, what do you like to see? What do you recommend?
The number one thing that people should be monitoring if they're going to monitor anything on localhost is their disk space usage. Right? We collect a lot of logs. We log a lot of things. Every single host you add is adding a RRD file, which takes up a certain amount of space. And at a certain point, if your hard disk fills up, you're going to corrupt your database. You're going to have problems. Your whole machine's going to stop working.
Right.
And then you're going to send us a support ticket, and I'm going to help you fix it.
Right. And obviously that's what Nagios is set up for. So to not be monitoring your own XIs, especially storage, is going to be problematic. What else would you really recommend people do on their local XI machine?
Well, this is kind of tangential to that. So your XI license allows you to set up a number of boxes. You can set up a production machine and a disaster recovery machine, and you can use that same license to do like a test machine.
You get
monitoring your active.
You get 3 installs with your license.
Correct. And you can't use your disaster recovery machine to monitor your whole infrastructure as long as your production machine is up.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing you can do with it and actively monitor all the time, even when production is up, is use it to monitor your production machine. Not your production infrastructure, but your production XI machine.
Okay. So the nice thing about the DR instance is that if something happens to your entire machine, your entire production XI, you can get a notification that it's down and you need to take action.
Right. The disaster recovery machine can do checks to know when you need to enable the rest of the checks on it.
And that, interestingly, that setup brings me to another topic that I don't know we have time for today, but like out of band notifications in a situation like that might be very useful. If your production XI is down, there might be other things. So talk to us about out of band some other time. But that's something to keep in mind with that. Ryan, what do you hear? What strange requests for monitoring have you heard on the sales side that you didn't expect to get? And you're like, actually, that makes sense.
Yeah, strange wouldn't necessarily be the word I'd use for it, but something that comes up often, once again, we capture the mission critical devices is what's powering those mission critical devices. With everybody having a desktop and some people bringing those laptops home as the world shifted to a hybrid workforce, sometimes UPSs came with those. You're able to monitor UPSs with Nagios XI, make sure that your backups are ready to go should the system itself fail should the power within your home or the power within your office fail, you're at least able to continue to work. Something that a lot of people come to us not realizing is, yeah, we can monitor that for you. We can make sure your batteries are topped off and up to date and working correctly.
I remember we had a situation in the office where a space heater, because it gets cold here in Minnesota, the space heater trips a breaker and like a whole wing is down.
Exactly. Yeah.
And so that is a space where a UPS makes a ton of sense so that you can keep going, right? Like if you drop off in the middle of a demo because you lost power, but you can keep going because network will work a lot of times.
Yeah.
When we, even if the outlet to the light switch doesn't go.
Yeah.
So that is fantastic. Great point.
Yeah.
All right. What else can we think of here? So like we've got some notes, security cameras and security systems. Those are like, at the very least, you can ping it, right? You can know if it's up.
Yep.
And so like that, I think that's huge, right? To be able to ping things obsessively and get information like that is a thing, right? Even if we've got, notifications based on, I know that there are certain front door cameras that send notifications that work on that work on activity, but actually knowing that's up or knowing that you don't know that it's up is huge. What else are you thinking?
Well, depending on what kind of backend your security system is, it might be able to relay information like, is it armed? Is it not armed? Is there activity on a camera? Are the motion sensors tripped? What door and window sensors are open or closed?
Yeah. We talked about that a little bit in another episode.
Yeah, I believe the last one. Yeah.
Where we talked about one of the great values of Nagios is that you can use it to centralize all of your notifications that you might have on any number of different apps, any number of different websites, with proper usage of APIs, SNMP, or any number of active checks. You can really unify everything that you're trying to take a look at, whether that's, just straight up infrastructure, security, and whatever else you got going on there. NAS devices, right? Now that's more, we're back to storage.
Yeah.
Storage, but also are they connected? We've got that. What else are you thinking? Some environmental stuff. Like, I'm just going to jump in. I'm going to cut you off because I'm like that.
Good.
Server room temperature.
Oh yeah, set up a temperature sensor in your server room. That's excellent.
Yeah. So that's a great way to go. Power circuit breakers. We kind of talk like, wait, I don't know. That's somebody's idea. Somebody put this on the list. How are we going to monitor circuit breakers? How are we going to monitor power? How are we going to monitor whether a circuit's up or not?
Sure. There's like devices that maybe sense how much flow is in a circuit, right? Like what's the one called? You like plug it in before you plug in your power strip into it. Do you know this product I'm talking about? Am I making this up? I'm not making it up.
Like a surge protector?
No. It's like a wattage or an amperage like reading on it.
Oh,
It tells
right.
you how much power is being drawn through the circuit.
Sure.
Yeah.
Those might be able
flux
to send
capacitor.
flux capacitor. That might be able to send like an SNMP trap or receive an SNMP request.
Yeah. I think we might be back to like a UPS monitoring and uninterruptible power supply there. We might be back to that.
Sure, I mean it's very related.
Yes. Since
Almost the same thing.
that's a machine that's going to send something like, because the UPS monitoring is largely SNMP, or it's easily SNMP. Many of them support SNMP. Is that correct?
Right, that's most likely the way you're going to be monitoring that. They're not going to have like some web interface that you're making API calls to.
Correct.
You're sending SNMP requests.
Correct. So that would be a good thing, especially since SNMP traps are perceived to be what many call real time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good choice of words.
I know we touched on it last episode again, but I do think it's extremely important, especially when you have Network Analyzer, to monitor your ISP. Make sure you're getting the network you're paying for. I mean, hey, keep people honest. And like I said, it's a good checks and balance system as well, something that's often overlooked.
Yeah. And I think one of the cool things about one of the latest Network Analyzer features is the route monitoring.
Yep.
doing route monitoring is fantastic. That just because the node is unreachable doesn't mean the node itself is down. And where is the break in the chain? Where is the network issue, right? And now if we can demonstrate that the network up to the node is in fact perfectly fine, then we can definitely draw the inference that the node is down.
Yep.
But if it's unreachable, why? That's a big question. Good call out.
Yeah, yeah. And then kind of circling back to where we started as well with knowing when hard drive space is about to fill up, but leveraging the capacity planning report, kind of being ahead of the curve, being able to get ahead of when, hey, this is the projected date that we're going to run out of storage space. I'm going to be ready.
Yeah, I think that's actually a really good point. I think a lot of people are like really good at the basic monitoring, but there are some next level tools like BPI, like capacity planning, that allow you to really take a look at the data. And capacity planning, now that really says we're watching how like drive space fills up,
Yep.
and we're able to make predictions
Yep.
based on that. It's like we've had AI for years.
Ahead of the curve.
Way ahead of the curve. All right. What else we got?
Well, I did want to say something. You were talking about pings, right?
Yes.
So pings are done with ICMP, right?
ICMP.
And in a network, different types of packets can be prioritized by your routers.
Mm-hmm.
And often ICMP are the first type of packets to be dropped to prioritize things like TCP because it thinks they're more important traffic. So sometimes you'll get like a ping check that's failing. That doesn't mean that your node is necessarily down, right? If you're hosting a web server, for instance, you might also be doing URL monitoring.
Mm-hmm.
And the URL's fine. It's still hosting. Apache's fine. Everything's working. But maybe some of those ping checks are being dropped by your routers, by your switches.
Interesting. So, there's, and I think there's a lot of insight in that. And I think like what that points out to me is monitoring a thing one way is great. Monitoring a thing several ways is even better.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Cool. Well, we said 8 things that you should be monitoring. I didn't keep track. Right? I don't know. We're on 6, we're on 10, we're on 100. I don't even know. I think that we've had a great time here sitting with you and enjoying the interaction. What are you monitoring that you think is unusual? I would love to hear that. I always love like crazy edge cases, and there are a zillion out there. So let us know what you're monitoring that you didn't think was out of the box, or that is indeed out of the box. And with that, Ryan, you got anything to wrap us up?
No, I mean,
We're there. Dylan?
Stay clever. I don't know.
happy monitoring.
Clever. Happy monitoring. Thanks for joining us today. We'll see you at the next one.
Take care.